This is me standing in front of a giant palm tree when I was in Singapore in July. And I wanted to use this photo to introduce this concept of a window of tolerance, which is a helpful visual for me to understand my BFRB. Basically this idea of we all have these windows of tolerance, and outside of that is we're uncomfortable. Let me explain. So I'll start this by just having you imagine the weather. You know, there's sun, maybe there's rain, and sometimes it's snowing. And with that, there's a wide variety of temperatures. And so here is where I'll talk about this comfortable tolerance window. You know, if it's too hot, like I was in Singapore, I'm gonna start sweating. If this image was any closer, you could see the triple sweat stains on my shirt. Alternatively, you know, if things are too cold, we start shivering. These are just our body's automatic responses to external stimuli. And I'd like to think something similar with kind of our emotional temperatures. I'll use this example of international travel. You know, there's squeezing into airplane seats, the border agent inspecting my passport, anxiously waiting to see if my luggage survived, but also like hanging out, relaxing on the beach. These are things that I don't necessarily do in my everyday life. And as a part of that, you know, maybe I'm outside of my comfortable tolerance. And in one way my body has learned to sort of regulate, self-soothe, is to engage in my BFRB. And another concept that I wanted to talk about, again with this Singapore example, is this idea that my comfortable tolerance window might not necessarily be the same as your comfortable tolerance window. You know, if you're a local in Singapore, you might be used to the heat, but for me, I am melting, you know, in the same way that maybe you travel a lot and you think borders aren't a big deal, but for me, it makes me anxious. Have you heard of this term, highly sensitive person? This graph is what I imagine when I hear this term. You know, it's not that there's anything necessarily wrong with me, it's just I am more sensitive to certain stimulus. You know, I think for a long time with my BFRB, I felt broken, but I am just trying to change that perception, you know, in the same way that I might be afraid of the Singapore heat, where you might think it's fine. I might be stressed out about certain things that for you are no big deal. Anyways, that is the idea. Hopefully you find it useful.